Hello everyone, my name is Bhavin and welcome to Pokélosophy. Pokélosophy is my YouTube project where I try to teach life and philosophy through the original Pokemon games. I think the original Pokemon games are great metaphors for life that I think we can all learn from and apply back to our own lives. I have exciting news for you. I finally have a Gyarados. I've been training Magikarp for quite a while. It's a Magikarp that I got for free at one of the stores where I was talking to someone, and I finally have a Gyarados now, so I'm ready to battle Misty. And my Gyarados knows Bite as well, so at level 20 it does learn Bite. And I find it funny, it still knows Splash, which I think is kind of weird. But, or I don't even know if it does it. It's gonna be, I just have this funny image of a Gyarados splashing like a Magikarp. It's just weird. Anyways, but it's a great force in my roster, and I'm super excited to build my roster for Misty, which the next episode I'm going to show you my strategy, my roster, and we're actually going to be battling Misty for the next episode, so stay tuned for that. With that said, I do want to go into the lesson or soliloquy or whatever you want to call these portions of a Pokélosophy. But episode 8, the quote that I'm drawing from is from Virgil. He's a Roman poet. And he said, they can conquer who they believe they can. And it's all about self-belief. And, you know, Virgil's not the only influential figure in human recorded history that's talked about the idea of like self-belief and achieving your goals. Obviously, some goals are unattainable. Like I can't be an NBA basketball player because I'm too old to do that right now, right? It's like there's obviously some constraints in place, but at least when it comes to like knowledge work or creativity, you can set a goal and achieve it. Like I really do believe that. But with this episode, I actually do want to go into what I call the morality of Magikarp. Because I think Magikarp is an important metaphor or symbol in our lives and how we kind of approach problems or things that we want to accomplish. And on that note, I think this might be the most, if not one of my most important episodes I'll ever do for Pokélosophy. I know it's kind of early to say that, but I think symbolically this is really important for me. And I think symbolism-wise, you know, we all are Magikarp in some way, wanting to evolve, but all we know is Splash, right? And I think a lot of us, with a lot of different aspects in our lives, we feel kind of useless and worthless, you know, overlooked, you know, and there's all kinds of reasons why, and I think we're just trying to like get by with this, or maybe that belief is so strong that you can't achieve your goals for whatever it is. And you know, on a personal note, like I'm trying to learn how to code, and right now I feel like a Magikarp is splashing. I can't do anything at the moment, and it's been hard. I don't have that self-belief, and I'm working on it myself. So I'm in the same boat as many of you, and it may not be you. You may also know someone that is a Magikarp, you know, and they talk about how they just can't achieve their goals or lack that self-belief. But how do we get a Magikarp into a Gyarados? And this is where I think we can kind of draw some important lessons here. We have to sort of support Magikarp through the struggle to get it exposed to the situations at hand. And this is right out of psychological fear exposure training, where you're slowly exposed to this the stimulus or what you're trying to go for, and you get more comfortable over time. So that's what we do with Magikarp, right? What we did was we put it against, you know, wild Pokemon trainers as the first Pokemon during a battle, and then we draw it back, and then we put up a Pikachu or we use a Zubat, and then that Pokemon will then beat the other Pokemon, and then we get experience points. But the experience points are then split. Magikarp gets half, even though Magikarp did absolutely nothing, but let's say a Pikachu will get the other half. And that's not necessarily a fair division, but the team supports that. And this is where I think it's important, where the whole idea is that the team believes that the Magikarp can become so much more. So it's willing to make that sacrifice for itself, at least the way I think about it anyway, where let's give the patience and the forgiveness to Magikarp to help it become a Gyarados and learn how to fight. And eventually, through that exposure, as the Magikarp gets more and more comfortable with these battle situations, it learns Tackle. And with Tackle, you're able to then fight on your own. So the Magikarp can now fight its own battles, right? So this is the second phase of Magikarp journey, where it just knows Tackle. And I think that just comes from slow and patient exposure to the situation at hand. And the Magikarp has confidence that, you know what, I'm gonna try fighting my battles, but I have support behind me of the team in case it goes really, really wrong. And yeah, that's how the Magikarp starts building more experience points to eventually evolve into a Gyarados. Because with enough patience and perseverance and hard work, we evolve into this leviathan kind of Pokemon. From this is a fish that could basically do nothing. And now it becomes a huge piece, or a force to reckon with in your Pokemon roster. And this is really symbolically important to me, where the Gyarados now becomes this like huge piece in this roster and is able to support a roster in a big way. Because I don't know anyone who did not keep a Gyarados in their main roster, aside from just like purposely not wanting to keep it because they want to kind of operate with constraints. But everyone I know with a Gyarados, they kept it. It was a huge part of their strategy. And this is pretty cool because I kind of view it as karma, or, you know, altruism, if you will. The Gyarados kind of remembers, oh yeah, these Pokemon helped me. This trainer in this roster believed in me as a Magikarp, and I became something so much more. And it supports the roster in such a great, meaningful way. And yeah, and that's the way, you know, and I think that's what we can say about life. But let's review the phases first. So obviously you're a Magikarp and you're splashing first, can't do anything, don't have belief. But then once the belief comes, through slow exposure of the situations, you learn how to tackle. So you then learning how to tackle life. And then you evolve into a Gyarados and win with Bite. And those are the 3 steps to really any situation where you're trying to evolve yourself into a Gyarados of that particular kind of domain, right? And I think this is important because I think we need people in our lives to help us see the Magikarp in us. Because if they see us as Magikarp, that means they know that we can become a Gyarados. And I think this is the most important lesson out of this episode, is that if you see a Magikarp in someone, believe in them. Show them that they can be so much more, and help them learn how to tackle. I'm not saying actually, you know, help them maybe you have to help them in some ways, but get them to a point where they can learn tackle and go on their own. And the easiest and best way to do that, which takes no effort, is self-belief. And on a personal note, I had a call with a CEO that I used to work with. He's the one that actually hired me for the startup that I joined for almost 4 years of my life. And it's like one of the best times of my life, actually. And after that call, I kind of paused. I'm like, man, he still sees me as a Gyarados. And I'm currently in Magikarp right now, right? I'm Magikarp in Pokélosophy. I just learned Tackle. I'm just learning how to like build this channel. I'm just constantly iterating. But at that time in my life, that CEO saw me as a Magikarp for the role that he had me had me take. And I learned Tackle and I kept going, but I didn't turn into a Gyarados because I actually left earlier than I probably would have wanted. And after that call, we were kind of like reminiscing about the old times, and he still sees me as a Magikarp, but he knows I can be a Gyarados, and I think he sees that I'm approaching that level where I'll turn into a Gyarados. And I still remember that because he believed in me. He believed in me to become a better person, even though I came up short in some ways. I still think deep down, and even after that call, I felt it, like, it's like, Bhavin, you're a Magikarp, but you're also a Gyarados. And don't ever forget that. That's what I kind of got the message or the vibe from him. And I think we owe it to ourselves that if we see a Magikarp in someone else about whatever they want to achieve, help them believe that they can become a Gyarados. And that's the best way to support them. This is like you being that Pikachu or Zubat or whatever you're using to battle the Pokemon a little bit just to get the exposure. That's the way we're going to help them. And on that note, I'm going to do the same to one of my commenters, Jervis Remain. He commented on my videos. We had a good exchange back and forth. I learned a lot about him, and it was really moving and thoughtful that he was able to actually take the time to write these comments. And he had this one comment though that stuck out for me. And you know, he's been thinking about doing something similar for Magic the Gathering. And he said, I don't have the technical capability. You know, I'm afraid of microphones because I grew up with a stutter, and I'm now doing videos on YouTube to people I don't know, and that's kind of crazy to think about. And it's all from self-belief that I slowly built over time. And I think, you know, based on those conversations, I actually think he's quite smart and, you know, capable, and I don't think anything's stopping him but self-belief. So I do believe in you, Juris Shemaine, and I think you should start that channel, even if it's small. And I know I'm someone with less than 100 subscribers on my Pokélosophy. I'm a Magikarp trying to turn my Pokélosophy into a Gyarados, but yeah, it's just like, I think, you know, it starts from somewhere, and I believe in you, and I think you should start it. And don't worry about where it goes, but try to learn that tackle, and maybe you could turn into a Gyarados, because based on what I've heard from you so far, I think you're a Gyarados. So start that channel. And I encourage everyone who's watching this video, write a comment below supporting him, right? This video is not about me, it's also about him too. Anyways, that's it for today's episode. In the next few days, I will be posting the next episode, which is my strategy for against Misty, my roster, and we're actually going to be battling Misty. So super excited to do a gym battle that I know I'm going to win. Click like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.